today. I'm Lori Drake. I am the community manager here at Handle, and we are joined today by Tracy Turner. She is the supervisor of financial services for Wesco Hill Country Electrical Solutions. Thanks for joining us today, Tracy.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share the Building Your Village. I think it's something that a lot of people don't know how to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. They get the little pieces together, and then they need to know how to put the whole puzzle together so that way everything moves smoother through your day. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right on in for you guys. Oops. So a little history about me. I've been a credit manager for over 30 years in the construction industry. And I have found by maneuvering through several industries, concrete, steel, rental, electrical, that the way of collecting is the same. So we don't collect any differently because we still have to have our contacts. We still have to have those people to be able to be successful at what we do. I actually answered an ad for a accounting / credit manager, and I was like, well, I don't know what the credit part is, but I know what the accounting is, so I'm just going to go put my name in hat. And it just so happens that it worked out. I got hired for the accounting part and had her train me for the credit manager part and never looked back. It's just a job that I love to do. So back in those days when we collected money, I mean, we would go to people's houses and knock on the door. You can't do that nowadays. You walk away legless probably, but you just can't go and collect the way we used to collect. So we've had to evolve and through time. And of course, also the pandemic. The pandemic's, was the propeller to where we are today. But over the last 8 years, I noticed that things were changing. And, the shift was no longer where's the money, but how can we go toward making the customer experience better and getting our money, right? Because if the customers are happy or if they are satisfied, then the money's going to flow a little better, right? They know who you are. They talk to the same person all the time. You get hooked up with the right person at the company that you're calling, instead of being bounced all over the place, especially now, since the pandemic has created this hybrid or remote environment. See, I work remote 100%. So when I call companies or when companies call me, they're calling my cell phone. They're not calling an office number. Right. So, we've had this whole Building Your Village is based on getting the correct information so that it's seamless all the time, especially now versus, before. Customers have a lot more choices than they used to have. They don't have to buy from me at Hill Country Electric. They can buy from tons of different electrical suppliers. It's just like the Walmart, Target, Costco. You've got a plethora of electrical distributors that you can buy from. There's more choices. The economy not the economy, the government, let me rephrase that, kind of helped the small guys during the pandemic where they loaned money. They extended lines of credit at the bank. Banks were eager to help businesses stay afloat. All those things gave customers a different feel about themselves and their business. Like they felt like they were important. They always knew in the back of their mind, I think, that they were important, but now people were showing them they were important. Banks were showing them interest. The government's willing to help them out. And they want that experience all the way through their experience. It's not just the money grab. It's just their whole experience. They want it to be the same. They want kid gloves. They want to be handled with care, right? So the customers began to demand a little bit more respect and how they were treated. You couldn't just go in there and, give them the old fist and say, I want my money, I want it now. And so it goes back to working together. We have to, and I'm going to say working together a lot because that's super important. In the credit office, we do not stand by ourselves. It takes a team. And so the old sales versus credit, well, that was the first thing that had to change. with all the changes that were going on. You can't butt heads with the people who are trying to sell with us being the ones trying to help them sell and collect the money, because it's a joint effort. They're not selling and we're not collecting, we're not in business. So we had to work together to form a bond to move forward. So I think when you work with your sales department and credit is kind of helping them drive the boat a little bit, I think you find that your salesmen respect you a little bit more. They also want to help you with the information you need, right? If I need job information, I'm going to go to the salesman to ask for it. And he's going to get either in a hurry to help me because I've helped him on several deals, or if I'm always ugly to him, he's going to say, yeah, I'll get to it, right? We want them to help us. So they are the first team member you need to have on your team. They need to be the first block that you use to build, right? The other thing that you need to focus on is when we're talking about salesmen, a lot of these salesmen entering the sales force today, they don't know how this really works. They know they can sell, right? But they don't know how all the camaraderie works between credit and sales and their customer, and how we can make this triangle work for the betterment of all of us, right?
Tracy,
So, yeah.
Obviously credit and sales has always been a real big issue. Do you think it's getting better since there's been so many webinars, so many classes teaching, how salespeople have to deal with credit and vice versa? Do you think it's getting any better, or it's still kind of one of those top concerns?
I think it's a lot better. The last 3 companies that I've worked for, I see a huge shift. And in construction, if you're getting things to shift in construction, it's shifting everywhere, right? Because construction is built on that handshake mantra from back in the day. And so I see salespeople wanting to work with credit because they know we're there to help them. So I think for me, I think it's gotten probably, I would say probably 80% better than it used to be. Now you still got the holdouts. You've got some of those old school salespeople that think that no, credit's just the demon department and stay away from them. But I think over time, if you can express your willingness to help them, that you're there for them, you're there to make the sale happen, whatever it takes. Maybe we do a joint check, maybe we do cash, maybe we set it up to where we've got job information, we've got our lien rights. There's so many options that we didn't have before. I mean, pay with credit card up front. I mean, we all have that option now, right? So it's better than it used to be. Is it perfect? No, but nothing is, right?
Right.
Not everything's perfect. So I think though too, not only just for the salespeople, but for our customers were really used to just dealing with sales. They didn't really want to deal with credit, right? Because we're the bad guys. So a lot of customers would just call their salesman and only want to work with their salesman. That has changed a lot because trying to get a hold of their salesman is not always easy because they're trying to do other new business, right? So customers have found that credit's not really so bad, that we are the helpful department. We send invoices. Hey, what can you do? If you can't do this, what can you do? And I think that that's helped to bridge that gap a lot, to where the customers feel comfortable calling us and knowing, hey, my salesman's just busy. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And that has proven to be huge, I think, over time. Customers are very in tune today. They're in tune to what's going on just around the world because of social media. They know when things are up, they know when things are down. They know how much they can push us and how much they can't, just because they're just like us. They're watching the same things we're watching, right? So I think that they are in tune to, more so than they've ever been, to financial situations and instability or stability, either way. The disputes are more common because every cent really counts with customers. They need to make every penny balance somewhere. It's either going towards something or it's in their checking account, but they need to account for it all. Used to, they didn't really care about the $3 or the $1.50. Now I have customers saying, I'm going to take that on my next check. Well, absolutely you do. I mean, money counts and you need it. So yeah, absolutely use it. So they're really in tune to what's going on with their accounts today versus before. Used to is like, oh, well, yeah, I know I owe you something. What I owe you and just send you a check. No, now they want a statement. They want to check it all off and they want to make sure it's correct, right? The question is on all of that, are you and your team ready for this kind of new world? A new way of taking care of customers. Customers want to be able to talk to us and get a response. They don't want to wait. They don't want to wait till you get time because they're already waiting. They have a salesman that they can't get a hold of. So they want to make sure you're able to be there for them because they're now counting on you, right? When you get a credit application, I write down all those phone numbers, all those email addresses, and I put them on the customer's account. It may be an AP person, it may be an AP person and the business email, all the phone numbers of everyone that they listed on there. I also make a phone call to the salesman and say, hey, who do you talk to at this company? Because I need their contact information. Oh, well, it's just a buyer. Okay, I need that buyer's phone number and name because they may go at the bottom of my list to contact in the event I need them, but they're least on the list, right? You need to get everybody, emails, mailing address, physical address, make sure that those two are the same. Some people use PO boxes. I do a lot of business in the rural area, right? So they use PO boxes, but yet they have a physical address too. They just don't want to have their bills go there, so they don't put it on anything. But you got to make sure you have all that information. When we ask for job sheets, I take all those phone numbers, all those email addresses off, and I put it on the account. Those are like golden nuggets, right? That those are the things that we have to be successful. So a lot of people just say, oh, well, I'll just follow that job sheet. No, you need that information because that information is key. The salesman handling their account, you need to make sure, hey, I've set your account up, is set up for X. Is there anyone else that you have contact information for? Because I know you gave me this guy, but do you know the owner possibly? Because not all the time do you get the owner. You get the AP person. AP person a lot of times fills out the credit out, unbeknownst to them of what they're signing. So all those things are important to us, right? Then you need to verify the information you get. You can't just think it's golden, right? You need to go back through and kind of verify, spot check some of the information, make sure what you have is correct. Where do you get all this information besides your credit application? Your company directory at your own company. It's a huge resource for things that you're going to need that involve your customer. And you say, well, what could that be? How do you get refund checks to your customers? If they have a refund coming, who do you talk to at your office to get that done? I bet you don't know unless you've done it before. So those things, and when I came to work for where I work now, there's like 20,000 of us little ants running around that work here. And I had no idea where to go to get that information, right? So you've got to get the company directory and learning the people in your AP department are huge for your success also. And just put that there. You find out that someday that AP person's going to come to you and say, you know what, I need your help with something. And because now they know who you are and you've given them a name to go with, the phone number and the title of who you are.
They probably help you faster than they would somebody else as well.
They do. And not only that, you can say, hey, Christy, can you do me a favor? I've got a customer that needs a refund check and, it's $200. What do we need to do? It's those kind of relationships that you've got to build along the way. So the question is, what kind of leader are you? We're all, running through our normal day. We lead our families, we lead our employees through the day, but what kind of leader are you? Because I feel like not only do you lead by example, you've got to train your team. Training and education are key. And, they say, well, you've got to go to college. Well, I don't know that I totally bought that in, but I do feel like that you've got to train your team. You've got to train your people to be successful if you're going to be successful, because it takes all of you to do this job. It's not just you doing it by yourself. You've got to lead a team of people and you got to train them up. Not everybody learns everything the same way. Not everybody at every company does things the same way. So you've got to train your folks the way you want them to be. And to me, when you're handling internal and external customers, y'all have to be on the same page, because you can't have ex employee over here saying, oh, well, I don't know anything about that, but you need to just send it in, right? No, they need to know everything about what you're doing in your department and what your expectations are. And how you handle yourself on the phone in front of them, or when you're training them, is going to teach them everything they need to know, right?
Do you guys, or does your company hold like sessions for, say, their credit team, maybe once a month or once a quarter, where they actually show people maybe new stuff that's coming about, or, just give them refreshers?
Our company does a lot of, I call it newsletters. Mm-hmm. I believe in firmly getting my people on a call at least once a month and saying, hey, how are you doing? What do you need? What is it that you're struggling with? Because I think that sometimes what one collector's struggling with, another one may have already gotten an answer. And it comes from that learning how to reach out and get the information that you need. But I also find that if you get everybody together, they can all bounce ideas off of each other. And that's huge for a department. So for example, I manage 4 people now, and those 4 know that they can call each other for answers. They don't always have to call me.
Right.
And they can work through it together. And I think that if you give the empowerment to your staff to do that, that gives them the confidence to make decisions that they need to be making anyway on their own. But also it gives them the confidence to go to their coworker and say, hey, can you help me? And they don't feel like they're demeaning themselves anyway, because that's how I've promoted our department, how it works, right? So if you promote it that way, then your employees have the confidence to go in there and say, hey, I really need your help. Do you have a few minutes? And then I find that my team's working well together. So for the fun part now is to build everything that you're building with your staff, with your salespeople, with your, the files that you're building on your customer. You got to gather it all together and put it in action, right? So in action for us, of course, is loading everything in the system. So, we have a place to load job sheets and information, but we also note the accounts pretty heavily with the notes. Customer name, the AP contact. I even sometimes put notes in there, like I know for a fact one of my customers has gone on vacation to a pretty big deal this week, and I plan on following up with her next week just to see how her vacation went. Not everybody does that, but I have found that when I have a large customer, there's a lot of volume with us, they like to be pampered just a little bit. And that's going to go a long way, because she cuts the check. I want to make her happy, right? So, hey, how was that vacation? And then, my checks come a lot easier than me having to pry them out of their hands, right? But so it goes down to handle your customers with their, with the gloves that you need to, build your business file, train your team, and part of your team is your salespeople. That's part of your team, because y'all have to all work together. It's not just people directly report to you, but it's the other people you touch outside of your unit, right? So, build that team and build the strength with those salespeople. And sometimes you may have to have a little webinar with them and say, hey, do you have 10 minutes in your day? That way I can get all y'all on the phone and just say, hey, what can we do for you? Do you need me to show you what it is about the liens that you don't know? Like how the intent to lien process works, why we do what we do with that. Because a lot of salespeople, they'll buy in if you show them what you need from them or why you need it. And that's all about that team spirit, and that salesman is part of your team. Continue to build your network. Networking is huge. LinkedIn, NACM, handle it. All these options are out there now. We didn't have all those before. You had like NACM was it. And if you wanted any other credit experience, you really didn't get it unless you went back to school. Now there's a lot of options. There's webinars like this one that you can go and get education, and it's free. free is good.
It's awesome. Definitely.
Yeah, free is awesome, right?
Mhm.
Build a monthly conference call with your own team and their branches that they lead, right? Or their customer base that they lead. So, for example, I have like 9 branches scattered in the Central Texas area, right? So I have a collector that they get their branch on the phone every month, and we run real quick through their problem accounts. The branch knows the collector, the branch knows me, salespeople know us, and it makes the relationship that much stronger.
Yeah,
So just putting faces and names together. Yeah. Go ahead, Tasha.
hi Tracy. Yeah, I do that also. Have a branch call every month and just discuss their top accounts and accounts that are past due, accounts that we're having issues with. I do that also every month.
Do you think it helps?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it also builds a relationship with, the branch and myself.
And you find that you can get things handled a little quicker than you used to.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how that works, right? Or you just
Yes.
kind of give them just a little bit of love and you get all that love back that you needed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think that so many people look at it as just a management tool, right? It's not. It's so important to get down in there and get to where you are talking to everybody.
Mhm.
It's like, no, I need you. We need the salesman, we need the branch manager, whoever else we need. In a previous life, it was the rental coordinators, right? To get in there, because those are the people touching everybody. And it's just so I'm so glad you shared that, Tasha. Thank you. So once you built your village, go ahead, Tasha, what you got?
Oh no, I was just saying you're welcome.
Okay. Once you build your village, you see results quickly, just like Tasha just showed us, right? Once you've done that and you start getting them there and making it more personal with the salesman and more you just like you care about what they're going through or what they're dealing with. It's not just, oh, me, credit. Once you start saying, hey, salesman, what can we do? What else do you need from me? I'm here. I can be, do you want me to call your customer? Do you want me to do a call with you? I mean, what do you want us to do? You'll find that those relationships turn into golden relationships, because now you're their team and they look at you as that. They're going to be there to help you. So now you've got all your contacts, your networking, you got your salespeople, your branch managers. Everybody's in this nice little, I call it just a little ball of folks, and that you've got that to totally build you up to where you can continue grabbing those little nuggets and adding them to it, right? That are important. But once
Tracy,
you get it, yes.
what is your opinion on credit people going to see customers with their salespeople so you get that joined experience?
I think it's invaluable. I mean, you have to, if you've got big customers and you're able to go, it's you can't do better than that. I'm actually making a trip to South Texas to go see 10 of our biggest accounts in the next couple of weeks, because they want to meet me, because I've been on the phone with them working their problems out. But I think that if you can get them and see them and not only that time between traveling with a salesman, you learn so much about what they do.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be on their phone, they're going to be making their calls, and all you're doing is holding on for dear life, right? So, because that's how they are. They've got their way down, and to watch them work, I think that's beneficial too. If you can actually ride with them and watch them work, you learn a lot about the people you're dealing with every day. Some people take that salesperson for granted. They think that all they do is eat lunch and do this and or go hunting and do this, but salespeople do a lot, and they are responsible for a lot, right? They've got to have revenue on their shoulders. And if you can go make a customer visit with them, and that's a team building exercise. I think
it's funny. When I was a credit manager, I managed Houston. So I'm sure getting around Houston, no matter what you do, it takes, an hour or so.
Right.
Working on the salesman, I mean, they would answer like 5 different phone calls just driving somewhere which you wouldn't normally think that they do that. Like you said, it was nonstop. It was crazy to watch.
And you learn a lot from them too, because they're actually answering questions, technical questions sometimes. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that.
I agree.
Can be
Exactly.
important. Yeah. So at the end of the day, once you've done all this and you just can kind of put it into motion, or even if you put it into motion slow, because you got to, build your team up, you'll have a strong team. You'll have a strong confidence within yourself that you can handle anything, right? That you can take care of yourselves, when you can handle the branch, you can take care of your customers, and your team has got you supported because you've trained them the way you want them to be trained. And everybody knows where to go to get the information they need. It's important, and it's huge.